No. It doesn't go down.
Like that.
It doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, ready to
Not yet.
Okay, welcome back for another installment of our riveting shiurim on Peos HaRosh. So just for those keeping track at home for how the order of the sugyas and the importance of Shulchan Aruch seems a little bit strange. This is the fifth most important sugya, but if you're actually paying attention in the opening of the sugya, when the Mefarshim were discussing the reason behind the prohibition, the one of the sources, I think it was in the Beis Yosef, quoted the proximity of last week's sugya, which is about divination and magic. The pasuk in Kedoshim says lo senachashu lo saondu, and the very next pasuk is lo sakifu pas roshchem lo sashis es pas ziknecha. So really, from a thematic sense, the Torah brings up these issues back to back, and I imagine that's why the authors of this of these sugyos put them next to each other. And they also are in the context of chukas akum. For those who got into the Tami mitzvos at the beginning discussion, what's the reason behind the mitzvos? It might play again into the factor that it's not just arbitrary. The Rambam's taking the task. Where did he get this idea of chukas akum? But the order the psukim talking about in Parshas Kedoshim were all about chukas akum. The next pasuk is v'seret l'nefesh lo v'sarchem. So don't put on tattoos. Mourning, different times of mourning, they used to cut themselves as signs of mourning. These were chukas akum, and therefore, if the pasuk right adjacent to that is about peyos, so that's why the Rambam felt maybe it was a part of chukas akum. So that's the first har I just wanted to make. The second har I thought was interesting. The Bach on page 161, Yoredea Kuf Pei Aleph, just makes a reference to the sugi of shatnez also. I didn't look at it to see if shatnez is going to be its own sugya unto itself, but there's a one line where he says, and this is the reason for shatnez as well, which I never thought. I always thought shatnez was a chok. I always thought just something you don't do because the Torah says not to do. But the Bach lists it as also, he actually says it pretty affirmatively that it's also under the purview of chukas akum, which I thought was interesting. I want to move on to the Rabbeinu Bechaya. Rabbeinu Bechaya is a fascinating source. Rabbeinu Bechaya on page 162, Vayikra Yotes Chav Zayin, seems to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created men and women differently, and he gave very different simanim to show that men are men and women are women. And just tonight, my daughter Yael, she's 5 years old, says to me literally at dinner, she says, "Can I ask you a silly question?" I said, "You can ask me anything." And she says, "Where does the hair on your face come from?" And I thought it was such a fascinating question. I said, I'm not sure. I'm sure there are follicles, hair follicles, that the hair emerges. I'm sure someone who knows biology better than I can explain why men have facial hair and most women do not. It's because I drink the Havdalah, okay? I don't want to confuse my daughter with these Baba Maisa so young. But it really, I thought the question reflected, even my daughter could understand that men and women are different. And I'm going to say something which is a little bit a hot button issue right now, but I think this Rabbeinu Bechaya might be at least shedding light on the Torah's view on transgender. Because the Rabbeinu Bechaya is saying that he says it pretty explicitly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Roshem b'min hazachar kadei la'avdil min hanakeva. He made certain signs in men to keep them separate from women. Ki ha'oseh kein hefech Hashem hu oseh. If someone does anything which is against that, is opposite the will of God. Just like one who takes kilayim, a mixture, and puts them together. So again, I'm not making any statements in terms of how we should treat someone who's struggling with this issue. Of course, we should be sensitive, but at least we're trying to figure out a Torah perspective. This Rabbeinu Bechaya is very fascinating in the sense that he says that men are created differently than women, and we should try to create or perpetuate those same distinctions. So that was a very interesting point. The next topic I want to bring up was the question which I always kind of was bothered by. That was the marine style haircut. I don't see anyone with marine style haircuts. I'm not insulting anyone, but when it comes to the question, mushroom cut? No, not the mushroom cut. I mean like a buzz cut. I mean a buzz cut. So first of all, let's just get the sugya a little bit. It took me a while to really read over the sources again and again and again. It's not so simple to understand the paradigm of what exactly we're talking about. It seems to be that the consensus of the poskim is we're talking about some sort of haircut where the Isser Deraisa would be if I took a razor and I shave from here where the temple goes in a little bit back to the ear, which I remember there's some movie, I can't remember, some like almost like a Saturday Night Live type movie where they had haircuts like that, where they had like a haircut.
Friar Tuck.
So I looked up the Friar Tucks are the opposite. The Friar Tuck shaved the top, but had hair around the edge. It seems that the Isser would be if I were to shave, so this part would be bald. So this would be filled with hair.
That's a mushroom cut, right?
It's a mushroom.
No, you used to have
A slit.
Yeah.
There was some actor at some point where one of these, I forget, like.
Just tell me the anniversary of movies.
Yeah. Anyway, so that seems to be the Isser Deraisa. Isn't there aliens in Star Trek who have like there is something like that on TV where they have these actors like that. It seems to me that is the Isser Deraisa. The question is though, how much stubble, how much hair on the side of your head in those areas is considered that you didn't shave at all. So it was a little bit complicated. First of all, there's a whole discussion about te'ar using a shaver versus using a scissors. The Shulchan seems to be machmer according to the shita that says a scissors like a te'ar, like a razor, is problematic. So there was in the gray box on page 163, he said a practical difference between the two opinions might be whether I'm permitted to use an electrical haircut machine on a setting that cuts the hair very close to the skin. I use one of those at home. I give myself haircuts with those all the time. So, my haircut here is a 3, but what if you use a 1 or a 0? What if I'm going very, close to the skin? So, what I saw in the Bir Halacha on page 169 said an example of what is problematic. It says, in the bold, page Bir Halacha Orach Chaim Reish and Aleph Sif Beis, Sifchat Beis says in the bold, the Yesha Om the Peas HaRosh Chamor Om Peas Zakan. We're more machmer by the Peas HaRosh than the beard. The over alav Afil Imavir Misparayim. You're over even if you use scissors. Ke'ein Ta'ar like a razor. Dahainu Samuch Libibsaro. If you do Samuch, then it's a problem. So the question is, what is samach? He says, you see people who have samach l'b'saran mamish. To me, that sounds like a 1. It sounds like a 0 is 0 still stubble, or 0 is bald. I've never been so gutsy. But, right? But there seems to be a point where we'll say there is no hair there, that's just stubble. So the Bir Halacha in the beige box right there, the Bir Halacha is brought down as the Mekel Shita. The Bir Halacha says, in the end he says in the bold, Ha'ilam l'shai al kol panim k'tzat min ha'k'tzat. You have to leave a little of a little. There needs to be something. So to me, the Bir Halacha actually would be a limud zchut for those who have the stubble marine cut, because at least it's something. There's something there. Definitely, according to the Shut Malam and Lahoa brought down source 28, he says, he says what's considered if something is there, if I could bend the hair back onto its stem. So picture you have your hair here. If I could take the hair and bend it back, it has bend to it, that means something is there. Definitely, if I have a marine haircut, I don't even know my hair, a little bit I could. If you can't grab your hair, then you don't have, according to this sheet, then you don't have hair there. So according to Malam and the Hoel, and those who are more machman Bir Halacha, I think a marine style haircut would be problematic. I mean, even if I do my whole head a buzz 1, I think it's problematic. According to the Bir Halacha, I could hear an argument that there's something there. The way he presents in the beige, the authors of the Sefer, look in the second line, he says, therefore, the Bir Halacha argues that one needs to leave a minimal amount, a little of hair, slightly longer than stubble. So I don't know, when you get a marine haircut, a 1, is that slightly longer than stubble? Everyone here has more. I got a haircut recently, it looks like Joseph got it. This is a lot more than stubble. But a 1, is that more than slightly more? I don't know. I'm not sure. So I wouldn't advise getting a 1 for those who.
You're splitting hairs.
You're splitting hairs.
Okay. I'm not sure if I get the reference, but okay. Either way, I guess if someone asked me, I'd recommend not doing a 1. Your wife might not like it either. Do a little bit more of a thicker haircut. Okay. Let's get into the length of the payos. I think that was, to me, was a little bit. I never really learned this, so it was very interesting. In terms of the length, how far down they need to go, it seems to be machlokas between Rashi, the Meiri, and the Rivan. Rashi and Meiri say it's the bone. So there's a bone in the middle of the ear. You can all do a test on your face. That is the more Meko Shita. According to the Rivan, it's to the parts where the earlobe separates from the bottom of the ear. The earlobe would not be part of it. It would be right, if you may draw a parallel line, it would be right about here. That's where the more Machmer Shita is.
Really millimeters different.
Between the middle and there?
Yeah.
I was impressed in the picture. You could see there's a little difference. The picture was very exact.
The pictures were very
exact. We're not talking about much. We're talking
about
a centimeter. Either way. What's interesting is, and today I was in Williamsburg at the Levi today. So you see everyone with their big payas, their brisker payas. So what's going on here? Why don't we have that? Where does that come from?
I was embarrassed sitting next to you.
I was embarrassed sitting next to you. I have a beard. I asked Michael if I have to get up and speak because about 15 rabbis got to speak. He said, your beard is not long enough. So
I think it's on. Your Yiddish isn't good enough.
My beard isn't long enough. My Yiddish isn't long enough.
Rabbi, I think it's on 166, the HaRosh. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to there in 1 second. Okay, so we have a machlokas. The Shulchan Aruch on page 167 seems to be machmer. The Shulchan Aruch says, Shira peh mikeneged se'ar shal pad chato ve'ad lamata min ha'ozen makom sha'alechi ha'tachni yotze mipared sham v'chol rochav makom zeh lo tiga bo yad. The Shulchan Aruch makes a startling statement. First of all, he says it goes all the way down ve'ad lamata min ha'ozen. He says it goes even past the ear, which is more machmer than even the more machmer shita. The more machmer shita is about over here. The Shulchan said down to the bottom of the ear. And he said the whole rochav makom zeh, the whole width of this area, that means from about the back of my ear till where my temple kind of starts over here. That's why the payas are these bulky, and we look at the Hasidim, they're these bulky width. That comes to the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says lo siga bo yad. So a few aros. For those who didn't get to the later Sfarim, the Aselach, Haravim, the Yosher, they all point out that it seems from the Shulchan Aruch he did not use a lashon of Isser. He didn't use a lashon of Asr legadol or Asr lekatzer, the hair. At this point, it seemed the way the Achronim understand the Shulchan Aruch was that it was more of a midas chasidus. It was more of a, this is a good idea, eitzah tova, but it wasn't necessarily halacha in terms of halacha psuka. And I think that's why a lot of people don't have till the bottom of the ear, because the Shulchan was more giving a recommendation than an isser. In terms of where does this idea come from, the whole bushy brisker payas, that seems to come from the line of the Shulchan Aruch, which is not brought down in the Mishnah or the Gemara. The Shulchan Aruch came up with this idea, again, I didn't see exactly where it originates from, that the whole area you're not supposed to cut. But that's a chumrah de chumrah, everyone seems to say, and it seems to be some chumrah based in Chasidus, or a chumrah based in levels of piety, and almost everyone understands it as a chumrah. And therefore, anyone who's wondering, shoot, I need to go home and I need to start working on my brisker payas, with my boss going to allow me to show up to work with that, it seems to that everyone says that's some sort of midas chasidus, and it's not needed. Okay, so I think at this point Haggadah's Beis Halevi says that explicitly. If you're looking for an interesting topic to bring up at your seder, I don't know where the Haggadah's Beis Halevi and the Haggadah decided to make this comment, but the Haggadah Beis Halevi brought down on page 176. If you're starting to really think about interesting things to bring up at your seder, I'd be curious to know what was the springboard for that comment. Why was he talking about brisker payas? Chukas, no idea. But either way, those were the haros I wanted to share with you for tonight's show. Yeah, sure. Because the Egyptians what?
Anybody need a haircut?
Okay. All right, shkoyach everyone for coming. Next week we'll do Purim. We'll skip the next one, do Purim, and we'll come back to it.
Oh, we're going to come back to it?
We're doing Purim next week.
So we're going to come back to it.
Yes, Purim is in
2 shiurim, I think. So then we'll come back to the ones we skipped.
So Josh, we are on this?
Yes, next week we're on Monday.
Anybody want to take